We are going live. Yes, we are live. We are live. Hello, hello, my beautiful people. Hello, body, mind, and soul providers. We are back. But today is not just a connection circle. Today is even more interesting. Today is our first Microsummit. Woohoo! And we are excited to be here. We're really excited to be here because we have such a hot topic. It's so hot that we cannot even sleep because it's so hot. Talking about sleep, before anything else, who have ever struggled here with sleep? Who have ever struggled here with sleep? Who feel like it needs more sleep? We all need a little bit more sleep in our life. And we all need to understand why this sleep is so important and how can we get a little bit more sleep, how we can get better sleep, because sleep we know very well that can be good or not quite good, and it affects everything in our life. And that's why we decided to create today event, our first micro summit about sleep, because it's so important and so crucial to us as humans. Doesn't matter if you are entrepreneur or you are a mother or you are a business person or you just anything you do in your life, sleep can affect all of us. So super excited to have you all here. For those that are watching us online, please comment below, let us know where you're tuning from, say hello, and please, now you have the access to ask questions, and we will check with the questions, and we will address all these questions throughout this amazing almost 2 hours together. Before anything else, I want to say thank you to these beautiful, amazing experts and ladies here that they are come and they take their time to be here with you today. So thank you so much to each one of you for being here, as we're going to dive deep into some amazing questions and topics to help you, the person that is watching today, to help you to gain your life and get better and more productive sleep. So we'll do a quick round. So I will start it. We'll do a quick introduction, and afterwards we'll pass it on to our beautiful co-host, Lorna. And let's say hello to Michelle as well, my beautiful co-host, Lorna and Michelle, to being here every single time with me and make this happen. And then Lorna, she's going to take every single one of us, or the experts here, to answer the most hot topics that we're looking for, the things that will help you to gain the things you're looking into your life. And then we'll have Michelle is going to give us a quick background of what is happening behind body, mind, and soul, and why we're doing what we're doing. And also, she's going to update you with what's coming to the next micro summit, because this is the first one of many more. And then we're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to take you over to all the questions that we've been asked on the chat. And plus, I'm going to ask you some questions, because if we have the experts, why not? Using them, using their amazing expertise. And then we're going to pass it on again to Michelle. She's going to take us to a quick reflection over the whole summit, and it would be awesome to go. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. For those that are watching live or replay, say hello to all of us, and we're looking forward to connect with you. And if you want, please connect with each one of these beautiful ladies. They have their websites. They're going to drop their websites in their comments, and then you'll be able to connect with each one of them. If some of them tell you something that really just triggered you and it's like, I need to know more about it, they are here to support you. That's why they're here. They provide you their expertise and their time. So thank you so much for each one of you. So let's go ahead and we'll do a roundtable introduction to each one of you, a brief introduction of your name, your title, what are you tuning from, and what are you excited about this conversation today. So let's start with first of all, let's start with our co-host, so we know who they are to us well too. Lorna.
The way. Hello. So good to be here. I'm Lorna, and I'm from British Columbia in the west side of Canada. And my titles right now are Mistress of Life, the Sex and Spirit Alchemist of the Feminine-Led Life, and Story Unweaver.
Yes, we're going to hear more about that later on, as Lorna's going to lead us to some amazing another roundtable. Let's go to Michelle.
Hey guys, it's so great to see you all. Michelle Boshard here, the natural entrepreneur. I am on Vancouver Island. That's on the left coast of Canada, on the far side, and I'm. It's a beautiful sunny day here, and yeah, I think that was name, title, and location. I'm a digital doula and mission technician, helping people craft their online offers in a way that's natural for them.
Amazing, amazing. And let's go to all the way from New York, Yayoi.
Yes, hi. Well, I don't need to say New York. I'm from New York, originally from Tokyo. My name is Yayoi Komiyama. I am a neuroencoding specialist and a transformation coach, brain to belly. And I work with people to change their relationship with food. So that's what I am.
Amazing, amazing. We'll hear more dive into how food can impact or not impact that well our sleep as well. We'll talk about later. Okay, amazing. Let's go to Jutta, all the way from Germany. Are you in Germany now?
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening from Berlin, the capital of Germany. So hi, my name is Jutta Wohlrab and my specialty is, well, supporting women and their partners through the most amazing 9 months of their life, the pregnancy, helping them to have a positive birth experience and knowing how to sleep in the time after. And that is very important. So I'm a top expert on that, 42 years of experience, 10,000 of people in my care, and I'm happy to be here. Sleepless nights when you had a baby, that is kind of normal.
Yes, for all the mothers out there, I'm sure you're speaking their language now. It's like, what is that? What is that sleep? Awesome, awesome, amazing. Let's go to Mary-Beth.
Hi, I'm Mary-Beth Newell, and I am coming from Sarasota, Florida, in the United States. I've been a registered nurse for 45 years. I have a master's degree in science, and I wrote a book on anti-aging and secrets of healthy living to stop the clock. And I think sleep is an underrated beauty regime.
Yes, 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 yes. It is so true, so true. Amazing. Let's go to Melania. Oh, Melanie, sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie Vanhawk, and I am a sleep optimization coach. I am also in Vancouver, British Columbia, so I have some neighbors here in the chat. I've written a book. It's called Awaken Sleep, and so it's all about finding that deep, meaningful rest. And I am also a holistic medicine student, so I am adding to my modalities all the time. So yes, please feel free to find me, ask any questions that you have. I look forward to being of help.
Amazing. We definitely, if we speak about sleep, we need a specialist in sleep and tell us how to sleep better. Awesome, awesome. And last but not least, let's go to Nicola.
Yeah, hi, my name is Nicola. I am also sitting in Germany tonight. Hi, Jutta. I'm a mom of five. I am a community builder because motherhood should not be done alone. We all need a village. And so my place here in this panel is how do you translate all these beautiful strategies when you have, like Jutta was saying, when you have little ones around or teenagers around and sleep is impeded.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to dive deep into this, and I'm gonna take notes. You're gonna see me looking down because I'm gonna take notes. I have a lot to learn. I'm super excited to hear from each one of you. Again, thank you so much for coming here. You're taking your time, whatever it's evening, late evening for you, and you had a busy day, or it's early morning, and you're taking your time to be here. So thank you to each one of you. We're looking forward to dive deep into these beautiful conversations. So my name is Adriana D. Marvel. I am your co-host as well with the Mighty Mind and Soul. I am a communication coach and a confidence coach and also a transformational speaker. And I'm always looking to learn more from everybody. So thank you so much. We'll pass it on to Lorna. She's going to take us to the next round and we're going to dive deep into what we're all here for.
Thank you, Adriana. And it's so wonderful to have each one of you here. And it's similar to a patchwork quilt, each one contributing to the whole. And so I really want to acknowledge and honor each one of you for who you are, your life experience that brings you here, and again, your willingness to be here and share with us of that experience in this beautiful unfolding time together. So thank you again. When we were Adriana and Michelle and I were thinking about what do we want to have for the topic of our first Microsummit, and sleep was what came as that topic, simply because it impacts all of us. And so we thought, what a perfect and beautiful way to start. So as we go through this, and for those of you who have been in our connection circle, one of the ways we love to do things is, as each person shares, is to be able to have that. And when the next person shares, is to actually pick up a thread from something that you heard from the previous person that just shared, and connect, make some type of a connection, acknowledgement, and then continue in your own sharing of that. We're going to be doing various rounds and give an opportunity to hear your things from your perspective. One of the things that we would love to hear is, and some of you have already spoken about this already a bit, but how have you seen the topic of sleep and its many facets show up in your work lately? So we're just going to go with it that way. I am going to put a timer on. We're going to do that just as sort of a way to hold the space, the container for all of us, and then we'll let the conversation flow as well afterwards. So let's go ahead, and Jutta, if you would please share with us.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So in my work with parents-to-be, of course, I always ask my pregnant women that I see, who is sleepless? Because I know, of course, women will always, in the pregnancy, have a broken sleep, and many hands go up. So through the years, I've learned, of course, one thing is the mindset. As an NLP trainer, I know I can give them something to deeply relax, because often it's, all the thoughts, the worries that keep you awake. But also, of course, it's certain foods that you can eat that will help you to sleep. And sleep is very important in the pregnancy. I mean, everything you do with your body and your mind has an impact on your baby, and will actually give you a baby that cries a lot, or a baby that also is happy to sleep. Now, I know, for instance, that certain foods will allow you to sleep, because foods are in connection with hormones, and hormones are the master of everything. So, for instance, I know tati cherries, kiwi, pistachio nuts, all these foods that create, a certain chemistry in your brain will allow you to sleep. So other foods won't allow you to sleep. So of course, we know sugar is not very good anyway for our health, and greasy food, very fatty fried food, all those things will stop you from sleeping. And so for all my pregnant clients, it's very important to, at one stage, have a chance to go back to sleep. Because when you're well rested and you start looking towards the upcoming birth, your pain threshold is going to be much, much better and much, much bigger than when you haven't slept. But of course, when we talk about sleep in the pregnancy, we also talk about sleep that will follow afterwards once we had a baby. But first things first. So for me, I always teach all my clients gentle exercises, mind exercises, breathing exercises, knowing how to wind down, and then certain foods that you can eat that are comfort foods, but on a, can I say, on a nutrition level, create certain substances that allow you and your brain to rest. And why is this important? Because, it's like as if you put stuff in the dishwasher overnight, your brain, your whole system gets cleaned up in the night, but only and only if you have a certain amount of good sleep. Otherwise, it's like as if you constantly start, stop, start, stop. And we know, and that's, I'm sure we all know, that our health is our wealth. And whatever we want to do, if we're not healthy and not well rested, well, nothing's going to work very well for us. And our emotion is also in connection with serotonin, which of course, is one of the sleep hormones that we need. Well, that's what I know from my clients, and that's what I work on with them. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jutta. It really speaks to the comprehensiveness of it all. This idea of it's not just a straight, narrow road, but many, many branches on that experience. So thank you so much. Yayoi, if you would please share with us now.
Yes. Hi. So Jutta was talking earlier about how certain foods affect your sleep. And I, especially because I deal with changing people's relationship with food, um, I want to make sure that people are eating healthy. Now, we were talking about sugar being an interrupter of sleep and many things. So, of course, sugar, we say try to eliminate as much as you can of that. Now, also, sleep also, what it does is when you lack sleep, your hormones, your ghrelin hormone, your hunger hormone rises. And what happens is the leptin, which is to lower your hunger hormone or the fullness hormone, goes lower. So what happens is you ineffectively cause yourself to, by depriving yourself of sleep, you ineffectively cause yourself to go hungry in lots of ways. So making yourself eat more. And those are some things that I work on with my clients. We work on also on now, like obesity is very, very common here in the US. And obese people tend to suffer from sleep apnea. And that is one thing that is very, very serious here in the US. And it's like 40% of obese people suffer from sleep apnea. And that could be only because they have too much fat around here. And when they lie down, it causes too much restriction here in the throat for them to breathe, things like that. And it's a serious ailment. And so we talk about sleep apnea, how to get rid of that, how to lose even just 5 to 10% of the weight so that you can release it so that you can ease your body, because sleep is one of the 5 pillars of good health. And we forget that. And it's really about caring for your body. And one of the things that we deprive ourselves of, we're like, I could sleep later, or I could catch up on sleep. Well, it doesn't really work like that. And so it's really also about listening to your body and becoming present with who you are and what you are feeling and what your body is telling you. So I work a lot with people so that they can change the way that they really reflect on themselves, be more present. So it's really about what they're thinking, how they're feeling, and what they do from that, and what you're going to get from that. So yes, at Brain to Belly, we work on all of that. And it's a topic that I am very passionate about, obviously. And I'd like to help people, yeah, get to a place where they can find the good sleep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, what you've just shared as well, Yayoi, is that reinforcement that it's not just a straight little narrow road. Thank you so much for that. And I love the way you wove that connection in with what Jutta had shared as well. Thank you so much. Melanie, if you would now pick up a thread of something that you heard Yayoi share, connect in, and then please share with us as well how you see it show up in your work, obviously, as a speech or as a sleep specialist, and look forward to hearing what you will share. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, well, sleep is multifaceted, exactly like Yayoi was talking about. The emotional connection to our ability to sleep is so powerful, and you talked about that as well with the neuro-linguistic programming. And one thing that I'm really focusing on with my clients is the hyper excitability of the brain and how that's affecting our ability to not only go to sleep, but then to also stay asleep. So most of my clients, they have 2 different issues. Some are not able to go to sleep, and some wake up at 3 in the morning, wide awake, not able to go back to sleep. And so that has to do with the hyperstimulation of today's society. When we're measuring the brain waves, there are different brain waves that are occurring during the day. And the deep sleep is only occurring in the delta brain waves. That's the real restorative brain waves that we need to attain to wake up feeling refreshed. And so you could wake up from a sleep that was 8 hours long and feel exhausted. That is a total possibility. And so it's not only the sleep that you are able to obtain, but it's the quality of that sleep. So that is one thing that I work on with my clients a lot. And in this society, we are in the super beta brain waves, which is very excitable brain situations where we're not able to quiet the mind. We're not able to train ourselves to be in that calm space, to be in even the beta brainwaves, the regular beta brainwaves or alpha brainwaves, where we have that meditative state, that creative state that's so important in renewal, in resetting our ability to connect with something greater than ourselves. And so that is a real big area of focus with my clients, particularly at the beginning, is to teach you how to go from these super beta brainwaves down to alpha brainwaves on demand. It's like training a puppy to sit. The first time you tell the puppy to sit, it's looking at you like, what do you want? And then you get super excited when they finally sit, and then they sit longer and then longer and longer. We're doing that with our own brain. We have a training that we go through where we're able to take the brain from not able to even touch the ground down to those brain waves where we're able to sit and we're able to be calm and be with ourselves without that excitable energy. And so doing that throughout the day can really help you find that deep sleep, but also if you wake up, find that deep sleep again. And so that's one big area of focus that I work on with my clients.
Thank you for sharing that, Melanie. And Michelle, your hand caught my eye. Melanie, thank you. And even as I was listening to you, even your voice is that aspect of just so calming. And so I appreciate that and the role that even plays in the people that you work with. So thank you for reinforcing that, Melanie. Mary-Beth, if you would, we look forward to hearing from you. If you would pick up a thread of something that Melanie shared and then share, please, of your experience as well. Thank you.
Sure. I think the hyper excitability, the too much time in the evening, not being able to properly prepare for sleep, whether you're exercising or looking at social media or watching TV, I think that can all contribute to it. I know the National Institutes of Health has recommended that people get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. 41% of Americans don't get that, but it's even worse if you have PMS, you're menstruating, you're postpartum, or you're anywhere in the menopause, peri, post, or going through it. Those women, their sleep quality is reduced by 75%, which is really alarming. So I do think that sleep, when it comes to anti-aging and looking at beauty, I think someone else mentioned almost like, I'll sleep when I die, or it's not a priority, but it really should be. It should be seen as an anti-aging strategy. I mean, not only your health, but also what you look like. If you have poor sleep, you're going to have swollen eyes, any dark circles under your eyes are going to be pronounced. Your skin actually ages faster if you don't have that restorative sleep. Your skin is dull, more dry and sensitive. So there's a reason why it's called beauty sleep, because there is all this restorative function that's going on. I don't think people even realize if you get less than 5 hours of sleep, your risk for diabetes is increased 2.5 times the normal. And it's just scary. It also increases your cortisol levels if you're not sleeping well, and a risk for cardiovascular events such as stroke or heart attack definitely go up. So I think we have to get the word out. So it's great that you're doing this in a Microsummit that we can talk about it. And I think the other thing that, and we might get into this a little bit later, is alcohol has such a negative effect on the quality of sleep. It's disrupts your REM cycle. You might be able to fall asleep, but you're not getting very good quality of sleep. And the other thing is, if you smoke or take in nicotine, what people don't realize when you're waking up in 3 or 4 hours, it's really nicotine withdrawal that you're going through. So if people can avoid nicotine, you'll enhance your sleep quality.
Such rich shares here, and the experience that you are each bringing. Thank you so much, Mary-Beth, for bringing those additional facets into awareness. This is rich, rich. Thank you so much. Nicola, if you would pick up a thread of something that Mary-Beth shared and share from your experience of how you see sleep and its many facets show up in your work.
Gosh, I had to take notes because I'm the menopausal woman right now of lacking sleep. But the women that I work with, they are moms, and a lot of them have young children. So they are not concerned about anti-aging. They're just concerned about getting any sleep. It's tiring, you were saying, even just the preparing for sleep is so important. And we all know that the winding down, the not scrolling on social media, that not having that glass of wine after a long day. There's so much in preparation, but the women I work with, sometimes that's their only 30 minutes or hour that they feel they have to themselves. And so we're actually working a lot around routines and systems that set them up during the day that they can actually get to sleep. And if you have a newborn, or if you're co-sleeping with younger toddlers, or if you have teenagers who are out very late, your sleep is still not at 8 or 9 hours in one stretch. It just does not happen in our society, unless you're blessed to homeschool and you have the inner freedom to create your own schedule and say, oh, I'm a night owl. I don't go to bed until 11, but I can sleep in till much later. And our whole day, my whole family functions on a different schedule. But if you're in any shape or form involved in the system, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't. And so we work around permission. You have permission to sleep. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's like all you laid out so beautifully how and why. Some of the women I work with they're not even at that point that they're allowed to. And then how do you balance that with, I need to sleep, I need to do the dishes, I need to do the long to-do list that's there as a mom, and where do I even start? So we work on, how do I have snacks in the house that are nutritious, so I can have the nutrition ready to go and not have that meal plan, I don't know, and then it's the snacks that ruin it. We work on train your kid to have a downtime so you can have a nap, so you can get more sleep if you can't get 8 hours at night. So we work on a lot of very practical stuff, from a mindset point of view to practical things, what you can do, and to just making it through those early years when it's just not happening. And as your kids become more independent, how do you find yourself as a mom prioritizing yourself again and making sure that as they need you less, you are becoming you're filling your own cup so you can continue giving. So you're not completely exhausted by the time your kids leave the house. So that's what we are working on most of the time.
Thank you so much, Nicola, for that, and bringing in the aspect again, another tapping into that of parenting and children as well, that seems to be such a crucial piece. Let's Adriana, if you would share as well, just take a moment, and if you can share how it shows up for you in your work.
Definitely, I feel like a child. I'm like, oh, there's so many notes. I already fill out the pages. I'm like at school. Oh, this is interesting. So many takeaways, so many things that I can speak on. I can tell you from my own experience what I have realized that I don't know about you ladies, but are you grumpy if you're not sleeping? Are you a little bit more, you know what I mean, when you're not sleeping? And then sometimes you don't realize that you are grumpy, and then the partner or the person beside you is just like, something's happening here. Either you didn't eat or either you didn't sleep. One of those things. And that's for me when it comes to as a speaker, when it comes to speaking, preparing for speech, some of all of you are speaking too. You're speaking on stages and speaking on other people platforms. And when you prepare for speech, if it's a big keynote speech, it takes a lot of preparation. So for me, I realized that I always have to have a prep before my speech, even the day or two before. And I realized that I have days, not always I'm able to sleep the 8 hours. And then when I wake up, like my mind is foggy, I'm not clear, I'm more aggravated, I snap faster than normally. So it's definitely sleep is a huge thing. And one thing I realized that even if I sleep, but if I wake up in the night, like I think you guys mentioned about, if I wake up in the night and I can't go back to sleep, my brain is like waking up a million times. It's like 20 million questions and things and tasks and lists I need to remember to do. So I'm very interested to know more into what Melanie was mentioning about, how you calm your mind down. So I'm trying to find ways for myself. I'm not the expert here, so I'm still learning. I'm here to learn. But when it comes to speaking, I realize this, that as a person that is on stage speaking and doing a lot of things, you have to be very aware and clear. And to be able to do that, you have to make sure you have a routine, like a week in advance routine of sleeping, and make sure you wake up and you do your routine, morning routine, evening routine. One thing I can share with you from my own experience is that you have to know what kind of person you are, like you are a night owl or you're a morning person. How do you run? Because I will be honest, I have years and years I struggled that I thought I have to be a morning person. And then I realized that there are different type of people. Some people are morning people and some people are later in the night. So then I have to, according with that type, I have to make sure I'm taking my sleep. Maybe I go to sleep late and I wake up a little bit later. And those are the things I realize. But I would like to ask a couple of more questions on people later on when it comes to, do you eat or you don't eat before you sleep? Do you drink water or you don't drink water? What happened with all these things that we definitely want to learn more about it. But for me, it's having a routine. I think this is the biggest thing. Go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, disregard if it's weekends or not. That was a big thing for me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that as well, Adriana, and the way that you were able to connect in. And one of the things that I love is not only are there the many facets of sleep, but the way that each person, as you're sharing, you're connecting in, and those commonalities that are there that are just kind of saying, here I am, give this attention and all of that. So it's really beautiful. Michelle, how do you, in your work, how do you see sleep, the issue of sleep showing up with those people that you work with?
Well, it was kind of funny. It's like, well, what can a digital marketer say about sleep? But I think I'll weave in the reason why I'm a digital marketer is because that is a business structure that works naturally around my life, and my life is around special needs. And when you're dealing as a special needs parent with someone who has very high anxiety or has vagal nerve disruptions and sensory issues, and just or they can't express themselves, and they're in pain because they have complex medical issues or co-diagnoses with their autism. You're dealing with the whole, basically all of the suite of everything everybody's talked about here, kind of on steroids. And I remember, it being, the third of 3 nights where I didn't sleep, where my child was up and because I had to monitor them for eloping and, just rummaging around and, the behavioral activities that go along with special needs parenting. So I really appreciate, the knowledge that's being shared here. And, you certainly don't look pretty either. After a long time, I'm looking at Mary-Beth there. We gotta get a special needs beauty package going. But yeah, and then certainly as a special needs parent, you see that stack up in terms of mental health issues, depression and anxiety, and just being plain old worn out from dealing with the medical and educational and other systems, right? And then we're supposed to be doing business on top of this. So then we're designing our businesses around our lives. And so that's why, as a natural entrepreneur, that's sort of how I see it, and why it's so important to me to work with people, crafting their offer in a way that fits their personality, fits their lifestyle, fits their soul's purpose. And why, when I was talking with Adriana and Lorna about how to pull this summit together, what is one of the most impactful, things that can change our mindset in our business, is just is how we're looking at it. How, are we running out of fuel? Are we just plumb out tired? Can we do things in our business and enable technology to be able to take some of those administrative tasks and things? So that's why part of when I'm listening to people, and in designing their offer and crafting their, free, low, mid, high ticket, and how we do the tech, I really listen for what's exhausting me, and what have I run out of sleep? What spoons have I run out of that I need to be able to help people build their business? So and even though on ENTV do the Natural Success Clinic TV show, we can talk about the business aspects of having your clear why and your offer and your marketing, sales, and delivery all great, and your tech tuned in and everything functioning. But there's other things that affect entrepreneurs and in their lives, in their relationships, or their other things that they need to have this connection of body, mind, and soul. And certainly sleep, I feel like, connects all of those pieces: your body and your diet, your mind and your thoughts, and your soul, and its ability to resonate at the frequency that you are meant to resonate. So that's how I see it. Lorna, I don't know if you mind if I jump in here and talk a little bit about that's part of why Lorna and Adriana and I wanted to build the Body, Mind, and Soul Connections Network, is to bring folks, providers like you. We've for a year now, we've been building and bringing people in to bring the providers together to showcase their talents and, give them some promotion. And with these microsummits, we're really leaning into, reaching out with that collective knowledge and bringing that kind of interdisciplinary approach to people's lives. Because for me, what's natural, is integrating things into our lives. And so my son's own care, he had all the ologists, speech, behavior, nutrition, immunology, all the ologists. And I feel like, in a sense, that's what we're doing here for the people in the Body, Mind, and Soul community, so that as we pull people who are struggling with sleep in, they can get that full interdisciplinary kind of picture. And we're loving these, really looking forward. I'm loving the way that it's going today, and we're really looking forward to having more of these, probably monthly. And we'll be taking these recordings and putting them in the providers, the subscription community provider circle. And part of the provider circle that the function that we wanted to do with that is to help support you guys as providers in delivering your business. Because whether or not you're getting enough sleep or not, we can all use some more support as wellness entrepreneurs in supporting our business, because this is really critical information that you guys are sharing and really valuable. And I know that the people who are going to be watching this are really going to be taking as many notes as Adriana and I are. Like, Lots too. So really appreciate you guys being here. Just some of the other features that we love to offer in the Provider Circle subscription for the wellness providers who need that extra business support is just the promotion in the group to the clients that we're bringing in through the summit. So we're kind of like trying to assemble the doctors and the patients, the service providers and the clients. So getting you in front of more posting privileges, and in the pop-up conversations, you get access to that. We do a store to feature your product, and a masterclass launch to feature your service, so that they know it's in the store, including it in our upcoming newsletters. We do a service swap when you're in the provider community, and then getting discounts and affiliate links. So when you're a provider member sharing the Provider Circle, there's some benefit that way too. So we just wanted to kind of like let you know, guys, know about that, and that we are planning these next sections. So I want to call out to the audience now, though. Adriana and Lorna and I have tons of ideas about what could come up next, like menopause or cancer, or just like Gen X kind of issue, like aching back, forgetful knowledge, menopause issues. But if you would love to tell us the things that you need most, then we can draw on our providers in the Provider Circle and those here in the Facebook community to help serve those needs, because that's what we're all about here, connecting our body, minds and souls, but also connecting with each other and collaborating to solve these wellness issues. So that's how I see it relating to what I do, and a little bit more about where we're going with body, mind, and soul, and really, really excited. I'm actually excited to see, did we get any questions, Adriana, in the chat? Or I know we've had questions kind of submitted in the background as well.
Oh, I have some hot questions. Don't you worry.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, because these guys are like, this is like a brain trust on sleep, and I love it. Let's go.
It is. One of the things, just in terms of, I want to just speak to another level of the sleep aspect that we've talked about, the children and pieces from my work, where it shows up is in terms of relationships. That aspect of, I think back to myself, crying myself to sleep, that type of a thing, being in such a stressful shutdown time, that it did impact my sleep. And so I think also that where it shows up for many people is if people are in relationships where they're not connected to themselves, where they don't feel that sense of having their voice, where they don't feel that empowerment, where they feel stuck or no choice, that it's not going to be very conducive for a body that can really relax and go into those deep, restful states. So the hours become a non-issue when it's sort of always on alert, that type of a situation. So many ways where sleep, as we've heard from each one of us, the food, the nourishment, the high stress, the stimulation, the hormones, all of those things that in our various facets of life, they just, like an ocean, right? They come back into sleep. And so I just really want to invite you for this next round. What I would love for you to do is, and using that analogy of an ocean, that there's the body of the ocean, and water will flow out of the ocean. It goes, and has its thing, becomes the fresh water, and eventually it will come back as fresh water and still will make its way back into the ocean. So there is that cycle that goes on. So this weaving back and forth of things that have an impact on sleep, and that sleep has an impact on things. And I know some of the things you've already spoken to will have touched onto this, and yet I'm inviting you to go to a deeper level to see what else is there that you would like to share in this impact one of the other.
Lorna, could I ask you to start that by talking a little bit about mojo and, like the honey, I have a headache because I'm too tired sort of part of the aspects of, like relationships and sexuality, because that's your area of expertise. And how do you see sleep interacting with your work before we go on to that part?
Yeah, sure. I would say that in some ways, what I had mentioned just moments ago, that aspect of if there is disconnection within oneself, And I work a lot from the perspective of consent, and not just about sex and yes and no. It's kind of like, no, an embodied sense of empowerment, of voice, of peace within. And when that's not going to happen, then number one, some people will use the aspect of relationship, that if I'm in a relationship, then everything's okay. But no, because sometimes those are the various things that bring up our challenges, that bring up our places where we don't feel safe, or we don't feel like we have our voice of being able to say things. When the communication isn't there, then it's not going to be a place of sleep, won't be a place of relaxation. Some people will use sex as a, whether with somebody else or for some by themselves, as a place of release so they can sleep. But often things are done in a tense way, so it's not always going to be at a deep, deep place of rest and rejuvenation as well. So the aspect of when the sexual erotic energy can be tapped into in a very free flowing, all-encompassing way, not just about a sexual act or about somebody else, but into that life force energy, it really can start to infuse creativity. It can infuse clarity. It can support that place of sleep, because it's not just focused on genitals. It's not just focused on trying to make something happen because I should, but rather it becomes this whole embodied experience where that creative life force energy, where that erotic energy can be tapped into a whole embodied experience, which then can allow more of that connection and kind of like, okay, I am at peace within myself. So in that way, sleep can be a little bit more rejuvenating. And, in the fun of different times where it's in a consensual way, where it can be fun, like, wow, to be able to have fun. And we all know that play and fun can be very, very relaxing and supportive of good, nourishing sleep as well. So a couple of different aspects there. All right, let's go ahead, please. And Jutta, if you could again go even deeper into this aspect of the things that affect sleep and things that sleep affects. Thank you.
Well, okay, I think part is what is on your mind. There was a song by Nirvana about your mind. And I think what is on your mind is going to make a big difference how you sleep. What are your thoughts before you go to sleep? What is the things you look at? What are you listening to? What are you watching? Yeah, so of course, as an NLP trainer, first level is how can you reset your mind? So no matter what's going on in the day, you're not going to change that overnight, will you? No. So first thing is to really learn how to relax and to put all negative thoughts away, but also, of course, to be very mindful about any show you watch on Netflix or something like this. Personally, I can tell you from my own experience, I love sleeping. I tell you why, because I love dreaming. And I know you have to dream to really rejuvenate, relax, but also to have new ideas. And sometimes I remember of dreams I had when I was a teenager, because they were so magnificent, they were so colorful, so vibrant, that they felt almost real. Or in that moment, they felt real. Because we all have dreams where we wake up and we think, wow, was it real? And probably on a certain level, it really was, and that is now going to be your spiritual belief. So that's why I always tell small kids or other people, sleeping is great, because when you go to bed, you sleep, you can really go off to la la land and you can dream. And that is something that most people at a certain stage in their life are not really able to do. We talk about creativity, all of those kind of things, and that is an internal creativity everybody has, because everybody can dream. Now, let me share, during lockdown, where we were also isolated, I had a thought like, what is good to help me sleep? And I actually went back into good night stories. So I bought myself an app, and ever since, every night I'm listening to a few very famous or not so famous people, to all kinds of good night stories. And I love it. It reminds me of my childhood when my mom was playing music or reading me a good night story. And I have to say, people always go, I say to people, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Try it out. A good night story when you sleep, you listen to the story and it takes you already in a direction, and then your own mind will take over. And so that is one deeper level for me for sleep. So I tell people sleeping is amazing. It's most wonderful. And you should not be scared of it. You should really look forward to it because it's the most amazing journey that you can take every day. The ticket is for free, nothing to pay, no ticket to book, no waiting in the airport. All you do is snuggle up and that's it. And that's the way I sell it also to the kids. Yeah? So that's my deeper level of sleep.
I love that. And as you look around, all the smiles as you're sharing that, it just speaks to the power of that. Oh, Jutta, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Mary-Beth, I'd like to go to you next, please.
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to go in a little bit, not to be a Debbie Downer, but to talk a little bit more about the negative effects I call consequences of cocktails at 8. So even I mentioned, even though it helps you fall asleep, it does disrupt your REM cycle. And that your REM cycle, and I think some of the other speakers have talked about it, is it has a crucial role with your cognitive function, emotional regulation, and feeling of well-being. And there are some studies that suggest that if you're not getting enough REM sleep, it can contribute to dementia. So just another reason why we want to make sure that we're getting our sleep. Michelle talked about if you don't get sleep, you feel depression and anxiety, and that is true. We also need it to strengthen our immune function. It also promotes creativity and the ability to solve problems. And I talked a little bit about the heart health. So I like to think of it as when you're sleeping, there's like a little factory in your body. You're relaxed. You're giving the factory time to do its work. So your body goes into a repair and recovery mode. It's conserving energy. Your brain shifts gears, gets rid of toxins. We talked about the hormones that are created, and I think Yayoi was talking about it, and myself, if I don't get sleep, I'm ravenous the next day. I cannot get it's like, why am I eating all this food? Just because your hormones are completely out of whack. So I think those are things to look at. Besides the hormones that are being created, I mentioned the cells repair and regrow. So if you think of muscle and tissue repair, if you're exercising, it gives you time for your muscles to recover, to repair those cells. Your skin, your blood flow increases. And what that helps to do is rebuild collagen. And it also repairs damage from UV rays. So now we all want to wear our sunscreen, but if you do have a little bit of damage from those UV rays, your sleep will help it, along with reducing wrinkles, those age spots, and it certainly reduces inflammation. So there's a lot of things that can impact getting negative sleep, but I think if we all remember positive impact of sleep, that it will help people to make it a priority.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I love the weaving back together of connecting and the affirmation of from various perspectives of how it is just really reinforced the importance of it. Not a luxury, and yeah, sleep isn't a luxury. It's a basic need that you know, and as I've been listening, there's this part that thinks of sometimes, you know, we think about burning the candle at each end, you know, there's that part of it, right? A little bit of sleep and some of this idea that if I go to sleep, I'm going to miss out on the fun of the day. There's so much that I can do. And yet overall, it just, the cascading effect of that which you actually don't want to miss, you end up missing out more because the sleep hasn't been there to support the wellness and the alertness, the vitality, enjoy the things that are wanting to be experienced. So this is rich. This is beautiful. Wow, wow. Nicola, would you please bring your wisdom and experience now to this part of the conversation? Thank you.
I loved, Mary-Beth, all the detailed physiological components to that. And I have to admit, a part of me was like immediately feeling guilty. I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm not getting enough sleep, I am ruining myself. Like, look at all these beautiful things that can happen from it. Granted, the moms that I work with, they're not thinking about all the things. It's literally a functioning part. And we can, and I think Adriana, Michelle were touching on that, is if we don't get enough sleep, we're just plain old snappy. We're short, we're impatient. And if you're impatient with little people, they are very impatient, and it becomes this ugly, ugly cycle that makes parenting and living very unfun. And it becomes very exhausting just from you not having gotten enough sleep. And then it gets, it becomes this big cycle. Then you don't start feeling bad about yourself. Why do I react like that to my children that I love so dearly? And it's a self-worth thing. That's where the anxiety kicks in. Then you're feeling overstimulated because you don't have the self-regulation tools for yourself because you're tired. So you can't teach it to them. And it's becomes a big dumpster fire in the house day in, day out, because you don't have the resources to give simply from being exhausted. And honestly, that can go even, because if that's an ongoing thing over years, the cost becomes higher. It becomes a relationship cost, because if you've given all day from a tired perspective to children, how much is left for your partner? Little, if nothing. And so it impacts your relationship. It impacts your mental health. Then it impacts all the way to your physical health eventually. What you so beautifully laid out, how that happens. And so again, sleep is not a luxury, and getting that into people's heads that you need to sleep. You're human. It's a basic, and that's what I talk to my moms a lot about. It go back to basics, go back to sleeping, go back to having fun, go back to eating properly, and maybe taking a shower. And you're good to go, right? It's really just the basic. But sleep is so big in that, because the cost of not having enough sleep or not having good sleep is so high, so high.
Nicola, thank you so much. And that application to your own experience and how that transfers over is, thank you for that reinforcement. And I love how, when we talked about, again, that patchwork quilt of the various facets of sleep, and just to really see how intricately they are woven together. And each of you, from your own experience, your own specialty, are reinforcing this. And let's look at it, keep looking at from these different perspectives. Thank you. Melanie, please share with us from your experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's perspective on it. It's like, yes, it does affect your creativity. It does affect your aging of the cellular level of every cell in your body. Doesn't have a chance to really recuperate and renew and refresh. It does affect your ability to interact with others, your relationship, your sexual life and appetite, and all of these things for sure. One thing I want to share that maybe we haven't touched on yet is that sleep is not something that you chase, right? Sleep comes to you. And so to get it to come to you, the best way to do that is to allow it to happen. And there is a very interesting study that has been shared by the US Navy on how to fall asleep within a minute. And so we talked about these sleep routine. We talked about we need to not drink before sleep. We need to not eat before sleep. We need to have this perfect kind of situation to get that good night's sleep. But I would like to challenge that in thinking of how to program yourself to sleep versus having the best circumstances or scenarios to get you there. You can still have all of those other factors that are influencing your life and that are getting in the way of your sleep. But by teaching you how to go to sleep and stay asleep, you can actually do that in the less optimal circumstances. And so that then impacts everything else that we talked about. Because if you are able to get that more restful night, regardless of all of the influencing factors and all of these other things that are going on that are not optimal, now you are able to get the benefits of that good night's rest, right? So you are able to be more productive, more creative, more in charge of your own aspiration and motivations. So that's something that's important to kind of highlight, is that the training itself, the learning of how to sleep, is the most important piece for me. And the reason why it is because for me, I was always an amazing sleeper. And I had a serious hiking accident 4 years ago that led me to a severe traumatic brain injury. And all of a sudden, I couldn't sleep anymore. So I actually had to learn that for myself. And so I understand the value of learning how to deep sleep, regardless of everything else that's going on. And so that's a real big message that I want everyone to hear. So you don't have to have everything perfect. It's more about how to attain the sleep that you want to be able to achieve.
Oh, thank you for adding in that additional perspective of that. Thank you, Melanie. Yayoi, if you would please share.
Yes, so thank you. I love what Melanie said, that you can train yourself to sleep well. And, you know, our brains are capable of being trained for anything. And we forget how important our brains are and how much of it we can still utilize, we could tap into. And I think that is one thing that we forget. And like we train, like we were saying earlier about training kids, right? Or puppies, kids and puppies. I guess it's the same in some ways. Potty training is still the same, right? Potty training. So when we train them, we celebrate them. And that's an automatic reaction that we do. And what we forget to do is to celebrate ourselves. And what I'm trying to say is that by celebrating ourselves, we are taking care of ourselves. We're putting a priority back into ourselves and saying, look, I need to take back some time for me. I have to create these boundaries for me, because it's that whole oxygen mask story that I always say. Like, if you're not going to be able to function 100%, you're not going to be able to help anyone, not a single person. And sleep is one of the pillars. Like I said, it is so important to be able to have that. It's like your phone, right? If you don't charge it, what happens? The battery dies. That's our bodies. Think of it that way. That's an easy way to think of it, is if you don't charge your phone, your battery's going to be running on that yellow thing, or it's going to go to red, and you're like, oh crap, where's my charger? Where's my charger, right? So I think it's really about creating those boundaries. And Melanie mentioned rituals, but it is kind of important to create that ritual around the sleep so that you know that you have that boundary. Like, this is my time. And, somebody else can cover for that time, maybe when I'm asleep. We have to get, like, if we can afford it, we can hire somebody to do that. If not, maybe a spouse or a partner can do that. But finding creative ways to get that, because we have to charge our bodies so that we can function 100%. Because without sleep, we're running on fumes. And when we're running on fumes, accidents happen. Like, I fell because I was running on fumes. Things happen that aren't going to be helpful for us. And we need to be functioning 100% and be present, because when we don't have sleep, we're not present. So I think presence is another thing that is so important that we need to look into. And you can really rewire your brain. There are methods to do that. Neuroencoding is one way, NLP is another way, training, just basic training is another way. So that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. This is great. This is really great. I'm going to put a scenario to you, and then just again in the time frame, just to be able to hear from your perspective, your expertise, how you address this. So here's the scenario. Somebody is going to be doing they have a big event coming up the next day. They're going to bed and it's just kind of what to do, the whole piece. They're trying to do, so there's going to be two different parts here. Is that aspect of they're wanting to be prepared, they want to go to bed, the whole piece, they want to have a good sleep, they want to be prepared for things. Or maybe they want to stay up late, but here they are. They have this big presentation the next day. They're really going to be doing that. And here's the second part is whatever has happened, they ended up not sleeping well. And now they are going into their presentation with that. So they want to sleep well, they want to be ready for their presentation, they don't sleep well. How would you advise at both ends of those things? Let's start with Nicola, please.
I was like, isn't that the everyday life of a mom? Kind of. They're trying to really get that sleep in, and then someone throws up in the middle of the night, and there goes your good sleep, and you still have to show up in the next morning. Maybe not for a big presentation, but some do. Some, a lot of moms do have to go to work and function somehow. And I like to go back in my scenario and the clients. If you have your routines and systems in place, you have a support structure that you can fall back onto. It might not help with the brain fog that you might experience in that morning but your fridge is probably stacked with food that is ready and available, so you don't have to fall back onto an energy drink or a soda. So you have that. You probably have already accounted for, if I have to expend so much energy on an event, I have the ability to come down after, and you have planned for that time and for that energy expenditure after, because you have your routines and systems in place. So you're building on a longer structure. But for that moment, for that bad night's sleep, I think I need to learn from Melanie how to just learn to do the sleep, even if you get interrupted or even if things go wrong, because that's motherhood for many years. That so I definitely have something more to learn and put in that arsenal. But that would be my advice, is lean on that structure that you have implemented from before, your routines and structures that have set you up for success as good as possible.
Thank you so much, Nicola, and making it very practical and applicable to the various categories of moms who may be working or not, and those hands-on practical steps. Thank you. Taking note, taking note with my grandchildren here and taking note. Mary-Beth, if you would please share with us.
Sure. Well, I've had the experience of having to do a big presentation. There's a couple things that I find are very helpful to get a good night's sleep. I like taking a bath at night because it relaxes my body. If you're in a hotel and they have a heavenly bed, you feel like you're on a cloud and you're going to sleep, but you can even create your own heavenly bed with a mattress topper or pillows that you like, or high thread count sheets. Now, if you can't afford, 1,000 thread count sheets, bamboo sheets are a more economical option. Making sure the bedroom is cool. 65 degrees is really optimal for better sleep. The other thing as I've gotten older is light really bothers me. And I wake up, I don't sleep well. So either having blackout, making sure everything's blacked out. But what I find is a sleep mask to black out the light helps me so that blue light isn't disturbing my sleep. um, Aromatherapy. So that's another thing. Lavender. It was fascinating. When I was working on my graduate degree, I was researching uh, falls with the elderly. And one of the studies was the use of lavender was reducing falls. And I'm like, well, how's that doing it? I don't understand how it's improving the muscle tone or anything. What I finally came to the conclusion was it helped older people to relax and be able to fall asleep and not be restless in bed. So they weren't trying to get out of bed and having falls and ending up with injuries. So I use aromatherapy. Some people have talked about rituals. So I use dusting powder at night. So it's my ritual, sort of like aromatherapy. And you're not supposed to have pets in the bed, but I do. I have 2 dogs. So what I do is I put the dusting powder on my bed. So it's aromatherapy for the doggies. So they know it's time to go to bed. Now, if you don't sleep well, um, I find getting up and exercising, doesn't matter how tired you are. If I exercise and I have jet lag, it busts through the jet lag. I think you're increasing your oxygen, you're getting the endorphins going. You want to make sure that you're eating well. And then I think mindset, psyching yourself up for the presentation and just getting your energy up. And I think someone talked about it, you can crash afterwards. But these are things that I've done when I didn't sleep well, going through a menopause, and I had to do a presentation. But those are things that worked for me, and it might work for other people.
Thank you for those wonderful tips and suggestions. Those are really delicious. Thank you. Yayoi, please, if you would share with us.
Yes. Oh, I loved what Mary-Beth suggested about the rituals and the dusting powder and all this because it's so important to have an environment. Your environment that you sleep in is really important as well. So creating an environment that is conducive to sleep. So like no TV on. Some people say that it helps them fall asleep. If that's your routine, then that's fine. But what I'm saying is for most people, it's better not to have the TV on. It's better to have lights low, cooler temperature. But the other thing is to know your body, know your habits. I think somebody had alluded to that earlier, had mentioned that earlier, to know your particulars, if you're a night person, if you're a morning person, because that's going to make a huge difference in how you're going to react to that and what kind of environment you're going to create for yourself. And it goes back to the preparation, the rituals that Nicola had mentioned, because rituals are so important when you go to sleep. And even before like a big presentation, try to stay within your schedule, the schedule that you've always had. Try not to, if you're in a different time zone, it may be a little difficult, but still try to do as much as you can according to your own rituals so that your brain is kind of in a kind of forced into that, into that same routine. You're like, oh, I'm in the same routine. I might as well just do this, right? And you can fool your brain. So that is something to kind of play with a little bit. And I would say one thing that I've found before presentation, I like to um, I'm kind of neurotic about this. I like to think that things come to me subconsciously. So what I do is I re-listen to the speech or whatever presentation that I'm going to make, and I put it on auto thing. So I listen to it while I'm sleeping. So it's in my subconscious. So when I'm awake and then I get to a point where I'm like all nervous, that subconscious mind kicks in and starts working for me. So that's one little tip for that. But also, if didn't sleep well, hey, you could crash later is right, and just hydrate yourself and just be aware. You can bring your consciousness back to a place and just say, I'm aware, got to get through this presentation. Just do this. Be super vigilant and be aware and do it. And sometimes our will is very strong and our awareness can get us through it and crash later, definitely.
Wow, lots of sleep hacks here, tips and tricks and life. Yeah, this is beautiful. Thank you so much, Yayoi. Jutta, please share with us.
Such an interesting topic. So, when I worked as a midwife, I worked on shifts. Sometimes I was on call. So, through my young years, from 20 up to almost my 50s, I had this crazy lifestyle. And I've learned one thing about myself. I think I taught myself that I can sleep no matter what, no matter where, no matter when. It's something I had a belief that I can do that. One thing I've also learned is, for instance, I needed to have eaten before to go to bed. If I, after a night duty, would not have a good breakfast, I would wake up an hour later thinking, oh gosh, I think I've slept 8 hours. So I learned I need to have, not crazy food, but a decent amount of in my belly so that I could digest and sleep. Now, when it comes to a presentation or traveling for a presentation, one thing for me is for sure. Okay, usually you do not give a presentation, a big one, every day. It usually is it's an event that you know it's coming. And you might know that you're more the nervous type. Okay, so you live with the fact, you prepare yourself, you do all the things that all of you said, whether it's a bath, breathing exercises, telling yourself you're good, teaching your subconscious. Now, if, for instance, I travel and I have jet lag because maybe it's really a crazy time zone, this and that, 27 hours flight, delays, and all these things can happen. I just tell myself, right, Jutta, come on, just be cool. It's a one-off, and you can always get your energy up and running. There's so many brain tricks, like, jumping up and down, kicking. I mean, how long is a presentation? Is it an hour, 20 minutes? Is it 3 hours? Even so, it's a one-off. So for me, my brain tells me, come on, Jutta, you can always do it. However, if there is something where I feel like I really can't sleep, no matter what reason is going on, and I understand much about the menopause because I used to teach much about the menopause. However, I've learned lying in bed, just resting, not doing crazy stuff. Yeah, just closing my eyes, resting, nodding off. That's good. And, I'm a hypnotherapist and NLP trainer. Of course, I love hypno. So in times where I was sick and I felt like I can't really rest and sleep, I would just put a hypno tape on and kind of snooze off while listening to this. I always give myself permission, right, Jutta, either this way good, that way is good, but I always give myself permission, snuggle up, put your head down, and you can just go to sleep, no matter if you do it in the first 5 minutes or in the first 10, whatever. So, it resonates with me, train your brain, because I love training your brain, but I also really know that all our habits, yeah, and it's not the food that you eat one day, it's the food that you eat over a long period. How good is your omega-3, all of these, how many good fats are you eating? I'm a big fan of a healthy diet, and I know a healthy diet in the long run, all your long run exercises, yeah? I mean, a one-off glass of wine is not going to kill you. It's what you do in the long run, day by day. It's these things that make the difference. And that's the difference to the difference. That's what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you. The difference to the difference. I love that. Thank you. And Melanie, if you would now please share from your experience as well.
Yes, thank you. Well, definitely, I cannot relate more to the neurolinguistic training and programming of ourselves. That is so important. And I did speak quite a bit about the idea of training yourself. And you are going to have those bad nights sleep. regardless of your training. It's like an Olympian. You're going to fail at some races here and there on the way to the gold medal at the Olympics. That is completely normal. And so I think that the biggest thing that I would say is that when you are waking up in the middle of the night and you're not able to sleep because of some impending event or some big change, like it could be a surgery that you have coming up, it could be that you're traveling to see family you haven't seen in a long time. There could be many different scenarios that would apply to this bad night's sleep, right? And so the one thing I'll invite you to do is actually to do all of those things that everybody shared. They're all great. I'll just add one more, is to actually have a corner in your bedroom where you can do a brain dump. And so how you're going to do that is you're going to keep all the lights off. You're just going to have a little pad of paper and pen by your nightstand. And this doesn't have to be a fancy journal or anything like that. It can just sit there for when you need it. And when you have been in bed and you woke up and you're not able to go back to sleep, you're going to go to a quiet corner in your room, literally a corner. You're not going to leave your room. You're not going to go up and turn on the lights or anything. You're going to stay in the dark and you're going to write for 2 minutes everything that is going on that's keeping you from sleeping. So a complete brain dump. You're not going to judge what you're writing. You're not going to read what you're writing. So it's just the idea of putting it to pen to paper, dropping it, and letting it go. And imagine that as you're writing it, those words are like dissolving. They are turning into mush on the paper. The paper turns into melting kind of sand that drips onto your legs, that drips onto the ground and disappears through the ground floor. So those worries and concerns are really melting away as you're placing them onto the paper. And really do that for an extended period of time. After 10 seconds, it will feel like you've been doing it for a couple of minutes. So keep going until it feels like it's been 10 minutes. There's absolutely nothing left to write. Your fingers starting to be a little funny because we don't write anymore. And once you're done that, take 3 nice deep breaths and go back to sleep. That's really going to allow you to be able to be in a place where you're going to be able to go back to sleep.
Wow. Thank you, Melanie. So many rich experiences here. And excuse me, I know that what you've shared is, number one, your own experience as you've shared, as well as what you share and teach for the people that you work with as well. So thank you for that. When I think about myself, I remember back, I'm going to say probably 20 years ago, where sleep all of a sudden became this thing about, I'm not able to sleep. But I remember breathing, just laying there and just breathing, focusing on my breath, and just feeling whether it was the feel of it coming through my nose or feeling my body move, with each breath. And that continues to be my go-to for sleeping when it comes time to, just to be present, just to feel the things that come up, feel the body move and breathe. Yeah. Michelle, what's one of the things that you've done?
Well, I'm thinking back to the special needs parenting and the shift work that goes on and in terms of supporting the child's sleep. You sort of become, and we were talking about that ocean bit about, how things affect everything else. And you go from, taking turns not having sleep to missing each other, and then the relationship, a chronic sleep deprivation and health, and really what came to me was that support piece that Nicola mentioned. And sometimes we don't actually have that. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I became a digital marketer and a natural entrepreneur, is my social purpose enterprise, to generate money to put in respite, to give the parents the sleep. That's literally why I started doing what I'm doing. but in terms of specifics, so aside from respite, I think the specifics that I think of, I had done some pranic healing training with Master Stephen Coe, and I'm a big nature geek. So like I'm a science geek who loves, a biologist who loves to be out in nature, and I just find that whatever I think one thing we haven't talked about maybe as much is the energy field, like the physical energy field connection, or your energetic connection to source, spirit, universe, God, whatever you call it. And that piece around discharging the static in the energy field to grounding in nature and earth, and whether it's touching or barefooting it, or whether it's like definitely actually like clearing your energy fields, and removing those agitants and disposing of them properly energetically. Those are two things that I kind of default to when I can't have sleep, and just reconnecting to the omnipresence of our source material.
Thank you for bringing that in. Yeah, that aspect of nature and grounding, and yeah, it's beautiful. And then even touch, of touching earth, touching one another, touching babies. Yeah, thank you. Adriana, if you would please share with us.
Yes, there's so many things I can take away from everybody. I took notes. I love the dumping, the dumping the stuff that's happening here. Dump them. Maybe I make that brain dump. It's such an important thing to do, and it's so available to each one of us to do it every single day. When it comes to presentations and be prepared for a presentation, I can tell you my own experience just happened. I had a speech contest last Sunday. And I am, my brain goes like fire up 20,000 thoughts in the same time. And I'm so excited about it and so nervous about it in the same time. And how do I sleep? How do I put myself to sleep? How do I put myself to sleep? I literally go for a run around the building here until I exhaust myself physically. And then my brain has to shut down because my body says like, we don't have any energy. We're going to fall asleep anywhere. So that's a way I do it sometimes. But when it comes to the moment, like I'm not able to even sleep because my mind or whatever reason, the day, like, and I heard this, most of you specific said, when it comes to in front of a presentation or something, a big event in front of you, I literally shake the crap off my body. Like some of you ladies know me. If you see me speaking, I'm like doing this. I'm going, look like I'm possessed, because that's when I'm waking up my body. I'm waking up my body to let my body that it's time. It's time to get the gears up and do the things I need to do. And yes, I will crash after 100%. I might sleep 10, 12 hours afterwards, but that is at least in that moment, I'm preparing my body to get into. Another thing I want to share with all of you is, I think Michelle mentioned about nature. Like for me personally, connecting with nature, grounding myself, getting some fresh air, nothing beats that. And when I'm able to get some fresh air and be outside, go have, like even this Sunday when I had my speech, on the break before I went to do my speech, I went outside and it was sunny, and I was outside in a parking lot and I was like rehearsing and I was shaking, and then people came back and looked at me like, what is wrong with this girl? I'm like, it's okay, don't worry. You will see me later. But that's how I prepare myself. Definitely be in nature, allow the nature to recharge me. Like when I hug trees. I'm a tree hugger. So if you ever see a person hugging trees, that's me. I hug trees, and when I hug them, I connect with them, and I ask them, emotionally, energetically, to let it through my own, to release whatever I need to release, and get the energy I need, that they can offer to me. So those are the things I usually use.
Beautiful.
You still here? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Looked like, yeah, that's great. Excuse me. Adriana, thank you for sharing. And want to thank each one of you for the answer to these questions that we've posed to you. And Adriana, I think you've got a couple of different questions and answers there for you to continue to tap into and give you opportunity to share of your brilliance, each of you, in these cases. So thank you so much.
Yes, yes, yes. I have a couple of half of the press topic questions. I would like to hear each one of you. When it comes to, let's start with the hot one. Let's start with, because I'm like, I have a couple of, which one do I, which one is the juiciest one? One that I have my own personal question, but is also, I saw it many times, is that in relationships, do we sleep alone in separate rooms, or do we sleep with the person beside us? Because I hear so many people, in the relationship, people start choosing to sleep in separate rooms, not because they're upset with each other or relationship is not working, but because the sleep is different. People have different type of sleeps. So, ladies, what is the deal? It's gonna damaging our relationship if we sleep separate, or we should suck it up and sleep with the person even if we want to put a pillow over them because they're snoring. Which one? What
Is
do?
this is just a free flow conversation, right? Because I got stuff for this. Oh my gosh. So like my ex, I'm not even gonna, but like we literally had to have separate rooms because of the snoring. And it was cray. Like sometimes you just can't sleep together. I would love to hear like what the solutions are that some of you guys had. Who just come off your microphone and pop in your thoughts.
I'd like to add an addition to this challenge. What about sleeping all together as a whole family? Because that is how the world does it. I know in many wealthier climates and countries, we have the ability to have our own room, but definitely that is not the case worldwide. And we are tribal humans. And so sleeping in groups and sleeping together can actually help to induce really deep, meaningful sleep and rest for the whole tribe. And so I would like to challenge you a step further into saying, actually sleep in a group. That's really going to give you a really nice rest. And yeah, sometimes it can be challenging to adjust, but adjusting to sleep regardless of the environment is also really learned in those behaviors as well.
Yutta, what do you tell your parents about co-sleeping? And I know you, when you're preparing them for parenthood in this as a midwife. Oh, you've got it.
Okay. Well, I have to say there's a big study that was done by a doctor called Dr. Paul McKenna about the benefit of co-sleeping and breastfeeding. And I really have to say moms and dads, or two moms, whoever the couple is, usually when you have newborn babies and you have a healthy lifestyle, of course, no drugs, no alcohol, clearly we know that, you actually tune into the same rhythm. And so I agree with what you just said about the tribal sleeping. I have a lot of Indian clients and they said to me, Jutta, we don't even have a baby bed. I said, yeah, because you're going to co-sleep. That's what you're used to. And when I worked in New Zealand many years back, Maori people and people from the Pacific Islands, for sure, and Maori ladies are big, large women, yeah? They snore like hell, I'm honest, yeah? And the babies would lie in their arms and the babies would happily snore along. So I have to say, I'm a big fan of co-sleeping, but I also agree you have to, in our modern society, train yourself. Now, I want to say one thing about the snoring, because snoring is something that happens through all the things like obesity, blah, 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 all this, we know that. But also when people start only breathing through their mouth. There was a fantastic book from a man written, James Nestor. He wrote a book about breath, and he did a study where 10 days, he and his team were wearing nasal clips, and after 10 days only breathing through their mouth, they would get diabetes, they would get allergies, and all of that. So I have to say, people have to relearn, like the yogis do, breathing through the nose. And when that happens, excuse me, ladies and gents, and everyone who's listening, the snoring is going to evaporate. So that's my tip for that.
Oh, interesting. I want to ask Mary-Beth because she's got the nursing background, and I knew she was trying to come off mic there before I threw it to you. Mary-Beth?
Well, what I was thinking is I have been sleeping by myself for a very long time. But when I was married, it's almost like you get used to it. And I had to adjust to sleeping with my husband. But when he wasn't around anymore, my sleep was disturbed because I was so used to it. I think one idea is if there is snoring and you can't train the person to breathe through their nose, you can always use earplugs. So, but I do think if the person's a restless sleeper and it's really disturbing you, then I don't think there's anything wrong with sleeping in a separate bedroom as long as you can maintain the relationship.
Yeah.
I would
Yes.
agree with that. I would agree with Mary Beth on that. I'm a horrible sleeper. I'm just going to admit it. I run in my sleep. I'm a deep sleeper. Yeah, I mean, I think I went on a trip with my best friend, and we were both on an air mattress. And I guess I was running in my sleep all night long. She didn't get a wink. So I'm a really bad, yeah. And I think my ex-husband used to say that I used to kick him a lot too. Um so I think it's okay to have separate. I think it's okay to have separate beds if your sleep patterns are different. Because if you're the same, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't bother you, it's okay. I'm a deep sleeper. I could sleep through anything. I know this is funny for a sleep summit. I'm saying that my superpower is I could sleep anywhere and anytime. I just wanted to share that because I felt kind of like I'd be an imposter if I didn't say it. But that's my superpower. I could even sleep on the train, like holding on to something, to pull. Yeah, that's my superpower. So but the thing is, if patterns are separate, like I have a good, oh, this is different. I have a good friend that's a very light sleeper. So it's best that I sleep in different bedrooms, right? Different areas with that. And I think it's okay if like you said, if you can maintain the relationship, I think it's totally fine. And, and if you can sleep together as a tribe, that's great too, because like, look at puppies, look at animals, they all sleep together as a tribe. And if your patterns are the same and your wavelengths are the same, I think that's fine. Like I used to sleep a lot with my puppy, with her around. And she probably kicked me and I probably kicked her, but that's okay.
That is so true. If you have a puppy or you have an animal, it's just, especially a cat. I used to have cats, and when they purr, I feel like I was purring with them. Can be almost therapeutical as well too.
Yeah, we snore together, so my puppy and I.
Well, I do have to say, I mentioned I have two dogs. They're two big dogs that sleep with me. And I've learned a tired dog is a good dog. I did get good sleep last night because my one dog was up at 3 in the morning and 4:40 in the morning and like 5:30. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be sleeping in today. And I was thinking, I hope I'm going to be energetic for the sleep summit.
Well, well, we're sure glad you all did. Adriana, was there another hot question?
Yes, I have one more question.
Okay.
When it comes to someone ask if my anxiety, my hormonal imbalance, or even burnout, is that the real reason behind my insomnia? But the question I want to ask when it comes to that is medication, are we pro or con? Are we needing, can we use medication? They are important. We should not use it. We should use it because there's so many people, they're so controversial about using medication for helping us to sleep, not using, find other ways. And medication can be even natural, like melatonin, or it can be, real other, chemical medication. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I want to speak up on that. Really, medication, and even melatonin, it is advised on a short term basis. So if you have jet lag, if you worked an off shift, I really think you should find other ways. And if you're consistently having problems sleeping, you may need to go see a practitioner because there may be something else going on with you. And if you're trying to take an Ambien or melatonin every night to get to sleep, you may be ignoring some other health issue that's there. That's my 2 cents.
I want to add something in because I'm all with you. I really agree. I think medication is not the solution. Okay, sometimes it can be a short-term solution if you know that, but you have to go really down to the base of what's going on. But I'll give you an example. I have a mom in my postnatal group who in the first round after her first birth suffered greatly from postnatal depression. Now she's a very skinny type of person, yeah? She's very thin, very etheric, and she has been doing really well for some months, but there's a lot of stuff going on in her family. Her sister has cancer, things like this. And she started crying and she told me she feels she's going down this alley again. So I said to her, you're very skinny. You need to get your thyroid checked out, for instance. Yeah. She told me she's eating a lot. So again, it always comes back to the same base. And I think, I work with acupuncture, I work with Chinese medicine, all of that helps. But sometimes when there's a real emergency, 20 red lights going on, okay, then if you take a medication for a few days or even a week or something, just under control, I'm all in. And then you still have to find another solution to get out of that. Because honestly, I think I agree with you. Medication is not the solution. It can't be, not in the long run, not for a topic like this, because we are born sleeping, right? When we're babies, we all know how to sleep. Yeah, we just do it. Boop. So again.
Yes, Melanie.
Yeah, I think to answer the question that's being asked, it's a vicious cycle, right? Whether the anxiety and the emotional issues are causing the insomnia or the insomnia is causing the emotional imbalances, they are interconnected. There is no separating those two issues. And so you can't say, oh, this is causing that or that's causing this. But the reality is that it sounds like it's quite acute. And during the acute phase, you should definitely take every measure that you need to get better, whether that is medication or supplements or anything else that will help you get yourself into a place where you are able to normalize and balance and then grow your health from there is the priority always. And you can do that through, looking after yourself, but also seeking the help of professionals for sure. I would say that in general, we need to use the resources that we have that are available to us to get better. And that sometimes is done through pharmaceuticals, sometimes is done through homeopathic medicine, sometimes is done through other means, and then meditation and all of these other methods that we can use to get you there is all encompassing. You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to take this pill and it's going to solve the problem, because that is just like putting on a Band-Aid. It's not going to solve the issue that's there, and the issue is going to fester and continue to grow. And so I would say definitely my first answer would be to seek help, because it sounds like it's pretty serious and it's quite acute in the state. And so we want to lower that down and get you to a place where you are able to then go from there into other resources and other ways to get yourself to normalize and be healthy without the help of other supplements or medication in this case. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Yayoi or Nicola, would you want to add on this?
Yeah, I'll add on. So I totally agree that medication is more of a Band-Aid for situations, and if necessary, yes, you need it, because sometimes we say, oh, poo-poo to pharmaceuticals and all this. Well, we don't want to get into the politics, all of that, but sometimes, you know, it's necessary to have these things because sometimes when you're suffering a very bad headache, you need that Advil or whatever, right, to relieve it, and or migraine attack or whatever. But you have to also look at what is beneath that. You have to get to the root of the problem, and the root needs to be taken care of, or else you're never going to. It's with anything, right? If you don't get to the root of the problem, nothing's going to be solved. You're just going to be slapping on band-aids and band-aids and band-aids. And if you want to live that way, that's fine. But most people don't. So I would say, you know, try to get to the root of the problem. Yeah.
Anybody else has anything to add to this? It's a hot topic, that's for sure. It's definitely a hot topic. So many people like, what do I do? Do I take medication? I don't take medication. And is the fear. I had friends saying it's like, I'm scared to get into even melatonin or something like that. I'm going to become dependent on it? So definitely it's a subject that it's on a lot of people's minds, especially when they struggle with sleep. Yes.
There's an old saying, everything has a time, place, and purpose. And you know, Paracelsus said it's the quantity of the medicine that either makes it poison or makes it medicine. And that's for me really the rule of everything. You know, say like antibiotic can save a life, but if you take it for every little snotty nose you have, it's going to be really a killer for your whole immune system. So this is really how I look at things. But I'm honest, I've been very much all my life on the naturopathic side. That's why I studied many of those things. So I think we can solve many, many problems with all the things that we said, whether it's food, nutrition, exercise, you know. I mean, when we come back to the brain needs all these good, healthy fats, the gut health, you know, your immune system, the connection between the gut and the brain. There's so many connections. But of course, still, I'm grateful that there is all kinds of things in our life that we can use. It's just a question, how are we using them and how often do we use them? And that's the way it comes down to me. That's my solution to the problem.
Yes. So well put. So well put. Yayoi?
I just wanted to add that it also depends on the person, right? Some people prefer some things, some people's bodies react to some certain things better than others. So it's really a personal preference, and it's also about knowing your body, knowing yourself. And if you're prone to be addictive to things, maybe, you know, you could take the medication, but make sure that you have a backup person to kind of like get you to stop when you need it to stop, or know yourself, basically. I think that's another thing I wanted to point out. Thank you.
Thank you, Yayoi. So many great nuggets. Definitely something that I personally am gonna look back on this replay and take more notes and go over and connect with each one of you because I have more questions. And for those that are watching, if you have any other questions and they're not being answered, or you watch this on the replay and you have questions, please connect with each one of these beautiful, amazing experts today and connect with them and ask them the questions they are boarding on you. So now I can't believe it's been almost 2 hours. We're gonna wrap this round and we're gonna pass it on to Michelle. She's gonna take us to a beautiful end of this conversation that I feel like I think this is just the beginning because we still have so much to talk about. So Michelle.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for you guys being here today. Each of you are a powerhouse in your own rights, and we're delighted to have you here as resource people in the Body, Mind, and Soul community. When we close out our connection circle, usually I like to ask people, think of a word that described today's session, but I think we're going to take a little different approach today because it was so knowledge packed and there was so much in there. I want each of you to think of one thing you hadn't or aspect you hadn't heard of before, and just let us know what that was. So the two things is like the one thing you hadn't heard of, and this one's gonna be tough for Melanie probably, but the one thing you hadn't heard of, or a new angle that you really had gratitude for that brought up that awareness. And I will ask you what the experience was like today and why this Microsummit was great for you. So let's go around. Actually, I'm actually going to start with Lorna. Lorna.
So in terms of, you want something that something that I learned.
An aspect you hadn't thought of before,
Mhm,
or that was brought up new appreciation, and then
Yeah.
why the
Mhm.
summit was so great today.
You know, I think that aspect of the hormones, about the sleep and the hormones, and that connection there. So I'm really appreciating hearing that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And this has been just an incredible experience of hearing from so many different perspectives and such a rich tapestry of wisdom and experience and expertise. And so thank you, each one of you who have in your contributions and for your life experience that brings you here. So thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm going to go to our other co-host, Adriana.
Yes. Oh, there's so many nuggets. Like I've been trying to write on the corner of the paper because I don't have space anymore. I don't have another paper near me. So two things is one that I love, that one thing that stood out for me, what Jutta mentioned, that's like the ticket, I quote her, the ticket is for free to dreaming. When it comes to dreaming, the ticket is for free. Why not dreaming? Because I used to think that dreaming is like makes me tired, but actually it's a perspective of how I was watching that. So I really love that. And then also a great reminder when Melanie mentioned about the idea that sleep is a natural thing to us. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to find it somewhere in something, in a tool. It's just come natural to you. And the idea is to look back of like what we used to do when we were children. We sleep because it comes natural to us. So those are some big things for me that stood up. And of course when Mary-Beth mentioned about the 5 hours, if you have less than 5 hours, think about it. You're close to diabetes, or you're close to some stuff like you just hit some points in me that I need to start looking at, because I'm bad at that sometimes. So there's so many ways. That what I love about this summit is that each one of us, we came with so many different perspectives. Like we talk about sleep as the essential need of humans, and it's like this diamond, and each one of us came with a different facet and different shape and different part of the same angle we take. And I truly believe that sleep, look at it through the evolution of us as humans. Sleep is something that never change. Everything else evolve as humans, but sleep is one that been constant in our evolution. So why not bring more and talk more about sleep, because it's critical. It's critical in our lives. So thank you so much for your beautiful times. Thank you for coming here and giving your beautiful experience and time with all of us and our audience. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Yeah, so I'm going to move to Nicola. I want to make sure we get all in and be on time for ending. And so, Nicola, what was your thing, the new thing, and what did you enjoy about the summit today?
So the one thing I think that is most important for my work is really recognizing you can learn to sleep or fall asleep anywhere, no matter your circumstances, because I think that is the most valuable piece I can bring to my moms. So that's something I'll have to dig deeper to enrich their lives. And I had forgotten that that's a possibility. And so in that, I love that the summit brought so many different perspectives and different pots of knowledge that they all overlap, and we all have a kind of general grasp on it, but the depth that each person here brought, I truly enjoyed learning and hearing all that.
Thank you so much for being here and being that pragmatic, life-based mom voice for sanity and how to integrate all this stuff. Let's go to Melanie. Melanie, I mean, this got to be hard for you.
No, not at all. No, I learned a lot today. I always do. And I'm obviously really passionate about this and could speak about it for days. So I wouldn't want to bore all of you doing that. But one piece that I really enjoyed is to do with the creative and all the speakers wanting to have that connection with the creative and how that happens into those theta brainwaves, into those alpha brainwaves. And they don't happen in the beta and the super beta brainwaves that we're spending our days in. And so that remembering for me, because I do spend quite a bit of my day in theta brainwaves, that the rest of the world is into this super beta mode all the time, and how there's a desire to connect back to that. And that actually gives me like a whole set of ideas of how to work with my clients on really igniting that ability again within them through the training. And so yeah, I learned a lot, and thank you so much for having me on. It's just so wonderful to see how passionate people are about sleep and their health and their overall well-being. It's just really beautiful to see that we all care so much and we all have so much to offer. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Mary-Beth, would you mind sharing your new thing and what you thought was great?
Sure. Two things. One, Michelle, you reminded me of something I knew, but I forgot, which is being in touch literally with the ground to clear your energy. And so that was a reminder for me. And then with Melanie, it really resonated, like training a puppy, because I have two dogs and you can't train them. So I'm like, okay, I can train my brain. So I really liked those two aspects. Why I thought it was so great. And I'm a speaker, but I would have loved to have been a participant. I felt like a participant learning something from everyone. I truly did learn something from everyone, something that I'm going to try and initiate. I also like the idea, well, one, it's global. We have global people giving different approaches. And I think throughout the entire age spectrum, what people talked about applied to everyone, whether you're a mom or you have kids or you're 70 years old. I think it really applied to the entire continuum of ages.
Amazing. Well, thank you for bringing your expertise, not only on the beauty side, but also the nursing side as well. So it's great to have you as a resource person. Yayoi, do you mind sharing your new thing and what you thought was great?
Yeah, new thing. It's not necessarily a new thing, but a good reminder was when Melanie said, we used to sleep as a tribe. And I was like, you know what? I forgot that, like, puppies. I mean, I'm a big dog person. So, of course, puppies, cats, all of that, they all sleep together. And it's a whole hive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about that. And I want to do a little more research on that because that might be helpful for a lot of people, and maybe like Melanie said, sleep patterns, adjust. So maybe that's a good thing, right? Especially because I'm an active sleeper. So that was really cool to learn. And just in general, I just love this. I think it was just beautiful. I learned so much from each one. Each woman here is just such a powerhouse with so much knowledge. And I love that we can share and learn from each other. And I love this collective energy because I think whoever's watching, you are in for a bonus. This is a bonus, let me tell you. Watch it, learn from it, and get in touch with any of us that you resonate with because it is so important that you connect with someone that you can resonate with. So that's it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, amazing, amazing. And Jutta, and we've got 2 minutes here. I will give you a minute and I might take us 30 seconds over, but I would love to hear your, because you've been at it for 40 whatever years too. And, I'd love to hear what was new or a reminder for you.
Okay. Let me say, first of all, my grandmother used to say, sleep is a healer. And that's what I think this whole session was about. And again, like everyone, I took something away from everyone. I never heard about this sleep corner where you dump your stuff and you write. This is an excellent technique. And can I say, this summit inspired me to set up a mini workshop for my parents to teach them again about the whole aspect of sleep. Yeah, because I love running workshops. So I'm the workshop lady and I love it. And so like everyone, I keep it short because, so many good things have been said. I love the global community. I'm glad I'm up still, even at it's 11 o'clock at night. Yes, Nicole. I'm happy to go to my bed and sleep and have a really great dream about the summit. And I really, really hope that I'll meet all of you in person one day in New York, in Canada, in the US, wherever you are, because I'm a big time traveler. And well, I think we're not going to sleep in one room, most likely. But I wish all of us a really happy sleep, and I see you all very soon. And thanks for that. Thanks. It's awesome. Really so great.
Thank you so much, Jutta. And yes, you're welcome to sleep at my house. I won't even snore, or at least I will try to practice breathing through my nose, because I learned that today. And the other piece I learned today was when that piece about dumping it in the corner, and then it connected with what I had just said afterwards about the energy discharge, and that in the same way, dumping the mental thoughts, the thought form energies that come together, dumping those out. I'm going to try dumping my thought form energies in the corner as well. So, lovely to have you go. This has been such a beautiful experience. We're looking forward to our next one. We're going to be doing a poll. Would love to hear any suggestions you have for topics. But we're also looking at tinkering with formats, and we're looking maybe even at having breakout sessions into VIP sessions next time. So looking forward to being able to put that out there. But it's just been such a blessing to have each of you here and to share your knowledge all together. Appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for spending your time today. Adriana, do you have anything else we want to say before we take it out? Wait, we're 2:01. We're only 60 seconds over. I think we're good. All right, ladies, we're gonna say goodbye, and thank you so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you in our dreams.
Right. Sleep well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Go to
Thank
sleep.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Sleep well.
Thank you. Sleep
Thank
well.
you.